right, James, we are 14 episodes away from our 100th episode.
Getting close.
How do you feel?
I'm happy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
It's a nice achievement to get to 100.
Yeah. I'm excited. We're all excited around here in the On The Go studios.
Yeah, no one would have thought we would have made it to 100. Because I think when I first told people that we were doing a podcast, everybody was like, oh, okay, that's nice. Because
that's everyone's reaction.
Yeah, that's everyone's reaction because everyone does a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone does a podcast and everyone doesn't follow through with it.
Exactly.
But I was actually serious when I was actually doing it. So nowadays when people ask me about the podcast, it's like, oh, you still doing the podcast? I'm like, yep. By the God. So now I got something to tell them now when I go back.
Yeah,
go back to the shop.
Got our 100th episode coming up. And, we're still trying to come up with episode ideas for this special 100th episode. So, hey, if anybody out there has an idea, if you are a true blue listener, you can email us on thegopod2023@gmail.com. Just let us know what you think we should do. Should we review a movie? Should we review a television show? Should we tell stories? Should we tell some behind the scenes stuff about the creation of the show? Should we talk about the On The Go brand entirely? What does On The Go mean to me and James and all the other people involved in making this show go? So let us know. onthegopod2023@gmail.com. And we'll be happy and excited to hear from you. I promise.
I'm kind of excited.
Yeah?
I'm kind of excited.
I'm excited.
You know what I think? I'll tell you. I'll tell you later.
All right. Tell me off air.
Yeah, I'll tell you off air.
All right. So I do have a question for you, James.
What's the question?
Do you think somewhere in the evolution chain, animals started to evolve the way that humans did? And then at one point, one of them started talking about taxes and stock markets, and the other animals just decided to kill it and
probably
stop
I can see that
right there. And then.
Hey, they're probably monkeys, right? Because monkeys are probably like the main ones.
That is true, but I bring this up because, as I've stated before, we have like a live stream option on the televisions at the studios.
Yeah,
and sometimes I put it on the Houston Zoo, and sometimes I watch the giraffes in the morning.
Jesus,
because it's nice. You look out, they're peaceful, they're chilling, they're eating, they're hanging out at the zoo. It's a good break from the content that I'm forced to listen to for 8 hours a day for a living.
I can understand that.
So I'm looking at these giraffes, and the show host likes to joke about it. It's like, oh, look, you're looking at your giraffes again today, and I'm just like, yeah, because look how peaceful they are. They don't gotta pay taxes.
Like what else? What else I'm gonna watch?
They're chilling. Yeah. So they make me calm or whatever. But I just had that thought while watching them one day, and I was like, do you think at some point they tried to evolve?
The only thing is they don't have to pay taxes, but they have to depend on people to feed them.
That is true. The captive ones.
Yeah.
But the ones that aren't captive, they eat whatever.
Somewhat, but they still need they still need things that we don't need.
That's true.
That's the only thing about it.
I don't know. I sometimes I think it's a more peaceful life.
I wouldn't want to be an animal. No. I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't want to be an animal or an insect.
I just want to know if one of them is like, hey guys, what if we just shared our income and distributed it and we made roads, and then what if we had a thing where we invest, and then they just murdered him. You were just like, I don't know what you're talking about. It sounds really extreme.
Jeez. And you just came up with this the whole time in the studio.
That's what I think about, James. I
was wondering, I think about you sometime when you're at work. I said, I wonder what Jacob's doing.
Having weird 4 a.m., 5 a.m. thoughts, I'll tell you.
Oh, well, that's the perfect time to have them.
Yeah.
4 a.m. and 5 a.m.
And I'll just
zone out.
All kinds of weird, just weird thoughts, weird opinions. Sometimes I'll scroll on Facebook, and that 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. is way too early to be looking at content.
So is that your everyday, when you come into work, do you eat breakfast? Do you try to...
I'm not a really big breakfast guy. So sometimes if I have bananas, I'll try to bring a banana with me.
You should.
Like a protein bar. But normally I'll get to work and I'll drink water. I'll get water first, and then I'm setting up everything for the show and whatnot. And then right before we actually go on air, I'll get coffee. I'll wait for it to cool down. I'll drink the coffee. And I drink a cup and a half of coffee. And then sometimes when I get home, I might have an afternoon coffee. Sometimes I don't, and I can really tell.
Yeah.
The caffeine just kind of wears off. But that's my little morning routine. I'll come in, I'll set up the show, I'll drink some water to start, and I'll get coffee to start, or after that. And then sometimes I have a banana, sometimes I have a protein bar. Sometimes I get breakfast tacos from the deli next door after we get off air.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to back off from the breakfast tacos because they're very good.
Mm-hmm.
But also, too many tacos is bad for you. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Are you a big cereal person?
I used to be, but I have not eaten cereal in a long time. And
I love cereal.
See, Khadijah's not a big cereal person, so we just don't have cereal normally, right? Because if we're going to eat breakfast, we usually eat breakfast together, and it's usually like either we order something or it's something that she cooks. Or it's like oatmeal. We have oatmeal. We eat oatmeal.
See, I like oatmeal, but it has to be spiced up real good. I mean, spiced up by putting apples in there,
Really?
maybe, or just putting some cinnamon in there. Just kind of dress it up a little bit,
That's weird. I never thought about that because we don't really season our oatmeal. We'll season everything else. We'll zhuzh up everything else. But we never do it with the oatmeal cups.
Well, oatmeal doesn't really need seasoning too much.
Yeah.
Especially if you get the kind that's already got
I never thought about like cutting up apples for it though.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
You ever eat the oatmeal with the dinosaur eggs?
Yes. Yes,
do you still eat the oatmeal with the dinosaur eggs?
No, I do not. You tried to catch me off guard.
What do you
mean?
mean?
I do not.
There's no shame in that.
But the way you said it was kind of like you still eat dinosaurs? Like, no, I don't.
There's no shame in that.
I don't. So what was your favorite cereal when you did eat cereal back in the day?
Oh, cereal was Honey Nut Cheerios.
Oh, see, mine was Honey Nut Cheerios and I would say Cinnamon Toasted Crunch.
Mm.
Yeah.
See, I didn't like the Toasted Crunch too much, but Honey Nut Cheerios just hit the spot.
Oh yeah,
I don't know,
and it's healthy.
And probably the Lucky Charms, maybe a close second.
I hate Lucky Charms.
But the thing is, like the only flavorful thing in that cereal are the marshmallows.
Oh, and they soon evaporate or they get soggy looking. So
yeah. So at least with Honey Nut Cheerios, the Cheerios taste good.
Exactly.
And try not to eat plain Cheerios.
Oh, I hate plain. If you eat plain Cheerios, plain flakes, corn flakes, or Raisin Bran, you're a terrorist.
Yeah. Same goes for if you don't put syrup on your pancakes.
Oh, you're a terrorist.
Yeah.
You have to be.
You got problems.
If you go to Denny's, you're a terrorist.
Yeah, you probably talk to yourself.
Yeah, you probably talk to yourself if you go to Denny's.
Yeah.
Hey, Scoopsies, you know what time it is?
Time to run my belly button bundles? Is that what time it is?
No, Scoopsies. It's time for Jacob and Jen's On The Go podcast.
That's my favorite. I love watching them. Oh, yeah.
So the next thing I want to bring up, James, is we talked about Childish Gambino's movie, Bando Stone in the New World, right? Which I keep wanting to say Brando, but it's Bando.
Yeah.
I did not know it's also coinciding with an album of his. It may or may not be out. I think it's out.
Is it out?
Yeah. Bando Stone in the New World is an album, a film, and a sprawling world tour, which were all announced simultaneously back in April, along with another album, a finished version of Atavista. Is that a Childish Gambino album?
I think so, yeah.
The nearly complete set he'd quietly rushed released in the early days of the pandemic and re-released last May. Okay. I don't think it's quite out yet.
I don't think so, because I haven't heard any new songs from it.
Yeah, I feel like we would have. I mean, we heard all about Eminem's new album, but you would think Childish Gambino would have been a big one as well. Anyway, it's an album coinciding the movie. I didn't know that's what it was. So you told me he's done this before?
Yeah, he's done this before with this movie he did called Guava Island.
What's it called?
Guava, Guava. I'm pretty sure I pronounced it. Yeah, Guava. Pretty sure I pronounced it wrong, but he did a movie with Rihanna. And he had a couple songs from the movie that was in his album.
Huh.
So, and I think that was on Amazon Prime too.
That is interesting.
Yeah. It was actually pretty good too. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Did you like the movie or did you like the album?
I like both.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like both.
Okay. So you listen to Childish Gambino?
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna sit there and say I'm a biggest fan, but I am a fan. Like if his music is on, I'm not gonna turn away from it.
You know how he picked his stage name?
How?
Wu-Tang Clan name generator.
Oh, that's about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I remember I saw him do an interview a while back, and they asked him where he came up with Childish Gambino from, and he was like, "Yeah, it's a Wu-Tang Clan generator."
It was so crazy when I first saw him when he first started out. He was just this kid trying to find his way.
Right. Well, because he started out in comedy,
Yo, he started out in Community, if I'm not mistaken.
Community, but he was also doing comedy, and then he started comedy. Rapping. And now he's like really grown up and evolved over the years. He's gotten very he's matured over time, as you should. But yeah, he's really changed. I always liked his comedy set. I remember because he was the inspiration for Miles Morales in a way, right? Because this around the time when they were doing Amazing Spider-Man 2, or Amazing Spider-Man, I should say. People were suggesting, Donald Glover should be Spider-Man.
This would have been perfect.
He's like lanky and he kind of fits the shtick of Peter Parker. And then he had this bit.
I remember that, yeah.
He had this bit where he's like, yeah, like I heard about this and I was all for it because obviously like who wouldn't want to be Spider-Man? He's like, but the world like erupted. Like half the world was like, yeah, great. And then the other half was like, he's black, kill him. Like it was really like crazy.
But true.
Yeah, it was really crazy but true. And then like, because of like the explosion of reaction from it, Marvel was like, well, if you look at Spider-Man and Peter Parker and like the characteristics in Peter Parker, none of his characteristics have anything to do with him being a white guy.
It doesn't.
You know, he's a kid from Queens and he lives with his aunt and uncle and, you know, he's just like a nerd. So like you can make that a black kid or a Hispanic kid or whatever. So it's like, why don't we come up with a new Spider-Man? And they did. That's where Miles Morales came from. So it's always cool. And it's neat because Donald Glover's been involved in the Miles Morales kind of things that have come out, right? I think he's voiced him in one of the cartoons.
Yep, he has.
And then obviously, he was the Prowler in the Homecoming movie, and he was the Prowler in suit in the last Spider-Verse film.
Which to this day, people act like, no, that's not it. I mean, if it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck.
Also, it's an Easter egg.
It's an Easter egg.
It doesn't matter what it is. I just wanted to kind of bring that up. That like I didn't know the movie was also based off an album and whatnot. So that's cool. That's interesting. Cool. Yeah. So is the Guava Island one like? Is it just a couple songs that coincide with the movie?
There's a couple songs that coincide with.
So it's not like a concept that got made into a movie. It's just like the same name.
Yeah. Interesting.
Did you ever listen to the Houdini album? Not Houdini, but Eminem, the Death of Slim Shady?
Some of the songs, I have to listen to it again. For me to really grasp the full weight of an album, I have to listen to it a couple times.
Right.
For me to like give a definitive review of it.
I think I've listened to about half of it. And I got to say, it's interesting because it's from the perspective of Slim Shady.
Yep.
It's this character. He's got Eminem tied up, and he's like trying to get Eminem canceled. So I thought that was kind of funny because, a lot of people are like, oh, Eminem's like this old man now, screaming at the sky, talking about how bad the younger generation is. It's like, well, if you get the character of Slim Shady and you really listen and not just like hear the words, right? If you're actually listening to what he's saying and you're kind of getting the story in the album. I don't know if it's a concept album per se, but there's definitely like a theme he's going for.
Yeah, I mean, and with all his albums, has been always kind of a theme to him.
Yeah.
Like when he did the Alfred Hitchcock album. Yeah, he had him in the shovel, and then like he always has like a theme to it. Now I will say, first listen, I can already tell you this is a better album than the last 2 or 3 albums that he's put out.
Yeah, I mean it sounds great. When I was listening to it, I was like, ooh, the production on this is really good.
The last albums he put out have been boo boo. They have been subpar.
I tried listening to some of his newer stuff, and
it's not good.
Yeah,
it's not good. I guess he's one of those people that. I don't want to say he's scared to be forgotten because he's never going to be forgotten. We'll always remember who Eminem is. But I just think there's so many people that are rapping nowadays to the point where it's just like, Eminem is coming more and more farther thought. I mean, you can still make music at 40-something, 50-something years old. I mean, Jay-Z's proved that.
He's gotten younger rappers on the album with him.
So, Nas does that as well. So I'm like, you can do it.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not crapping on younger people in general. Like I said, he's bringing up the younger generation. If anything, the Death of Some Shady is quite literally like I'm killing off this character because it's not needed or wanted anymore.
And that's what I took it as.
Yeah, the world's changed and this character needs to go. And then in the album, in the rap songs, is like Slim Shady's trying to like stay alive. Right, that's what I gathered from listening to half the album.
Yeah, but that's what I took it as well.
Yeah,
you're right.
I thought it was funny because I think one of the songs, Like there's like little pieces in between the songs, right? That kind of like tie your story up.
Skits.
Yeah. And then one of the songs, like he starts out with like "F the blind."
Yep.
It's like,
Well, I remember back in the day when he first got started. I remember he was very controversial.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought he was doing a lot of stuff for shock value.
Yeah.
You know, and then it turns out to be like, yeah, that's some of it was kind of like how he felt, but then some of it was for shock value. You know, Eminem, I mean MTV, they used to love Eminem.
Oh, yeah.
They were eating good off of Eminem.
Yeah.
Because he was controversial just like Eminem, just like MTV was.
I think Eminem's humor is just very dry.
Oh yeah.
I think he's got a very dry humor, and he's so serious, like in his rap songs and stuff. Without not the Slim Shady ones, because the Slim Shady ones are silly, but like most of his rap songs are pretty serious or pretty like serious tones and themes that people don't think he has a sense of humor or that he's funny or like, you know, he's always like beefing with somebody. He's always doing diss tracks or whatever. So people take him a little bit too seriously, but he does have humor. It's dry humor. And I think this is just kind of an example of that humor is, hey, I'm killing off this character, but if I were to kill off this character, this is how he's going to go out. He's going to crap on Gen Z and whatnot.
Because he said before in the past, you know, I'm not about you know, canceling anybody or about, but he's another thing too. He's not about what's that? Being evil towards trans or LGBT plus community. Yeah. Because I remember for a long time he had a beef with them as well. Yeah. You know, everything is like you said. His humor was dry. Yeah. And the stuff that he was saying in the music was just jokes. Yeah. You know, they were always jokes.
Some of the stuff he says in this music is like, wow.
Yeah, but they're just jokes, you know what I'm saying?
They are just jokes. And they're jokes at the expense of this fictional character or this piece of personality that he has. So really, it's just him fighting with himself to change and overcome.
Is his version of like something like 444? Yeah. Where it's like a retrospective album. Yeah. Or like Kendrick Lamar's album where he did Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It's a retrospective album. Yeah. It sounds crazy when you say Slim Shady's album is a retrospective album, but it is. Yeah. So basically, all in all, that's what it is.
It's interesting. And it's kind of funny to see people take it a little bit more seriously than it should.
They just don't get it.
They should. Or even like the other side where like, oh, they're going to come for Eminem now because he made this album. No, they're not. No one's trying to cancel Eminem, as I've said before.
Anybody that knows Eminem knows that he's not serious.
Yeah. Just listen to the music. You'll get it.
On the go or on the run with Jacob and James.
Our last segment for today, James. I've been meaning to talk about this for a little while because a friend of the show sent us some stuff about this. The Boeing Starliner that's stuck in the International Space Station. Have you heard anything about this?
I haven't heard zero about this.
Me neither, practically. And I work in news radio. Like, you would think this would be bigger news, but apparently it's not.
I've heard about the war in Gaza. I've heard about elections.
The elections.
I've heard about assassin attempts. I've never heard anything about this.
Yeah, so Boeing and NASA's Starliner mission is stuck up at the International Space Station. Apparently there was like a leak before they even went up there, and that's what causing them to be stuck. They can't come back due to safety issues because I imagine if they came back, they would probably burn up in the atmosphere or something, I would imagine. So they've been up there. What's been happening is like they've been waiting for the next crew members to come up because they do like, I think every 60 days they trade out crew members. And so they're just floating out there in space, connected to the ISS, just waiting for these people to come up. Well, as of like yesterday or the day before yesterday or whatever, the Boeing Starliner has exceeded the 45-day battery window for being docked at the International Space Station. It says the capsule was initially approved to stay at the ISS for up to 45 days, but since no date has been set for the astronauts' return, the stay has been extended indefinitely, and NASA and Boeing say the batteries are performing well aboard the capsule. The spacecraft arrived at the International Space Station on June 6th. Monday marked 46 days since they've been there. This is not bigger news. No one's talking about this. You would think this would almost be like the submarine that got crushed.
You would think so.
but no one's concerned about this.
How come they just couldn't just fly somebody up there to get them?
And I guess because they're connected to the International Space Station, I suppose that's probably why it's not a bigger deal than it is. Because it's not like they're out there alone.
Yeah.
But then they are. They're gonna sit. The next team that comes up, they're gonna be able to come back with them.
How come they just can speed up the process?
No idea.
Like,
Butch Wilmer and Suni Williams are the 2 astronauts on board, and they express confidence in early July that despite the delay, they will get home safely. While Sunday was the end of the 45-day window, the mission was approved for NASA and Boeing. NASA and Boeing have said the batteries are performing and the capsule is safe to stay past the window at ISS.
I think that's probably some of it. I think they don't feel like they're in danger.
They're not scared.
Yeah, they're not scared, and I think NASA's probably not scared. So it's not like a Apollo 11, Apollo 13.
Yeah.
Movie.
I mean, it also takes like time and money to send somebody else up there to get them, right?
Yeah,
it's harder to do a rescue mission in space than it is in the ocean.
Well, we learned that from the movies.
Yeah.
What's that, The Martian?
Yeah.
And what was that other movie? Apollo 13?
Apollo 13. Yeah, The Martian. Any other space movie.
Any other space movie.
Here on Earth, engineers from Boeing and NASA have been running tests on the thrusters to get an idea of what went wrong during the flight to the ISS. They have said, if needed, the astronauts would be safe to return home at any time. NASA and Boeing have said they hope to get the astronauts home in the coming weeks. So far, we have not been given a date, and there has been no indication they plan to use another spacecraft to get them home. As of right now, they are confident they'll be able to get Wilmore and Williams home on Starliner. I wonder how long they're going to let them sit up there for.
I mean, as long as they probably got food and stuff.
Because evidently their life is not in any kind of danger, and NASA's pretty confident in that. But what's going to happen if they just something goes wrong and they die?
Well, I mean, I think that's the point where they don't seem very worried about.
They really don't.
They don't seem very. Because I thought when you told me the story that it was going to be like hell and chaos, but they don't seem very worried at all.
I think the biggest issue is there's no gravity.
Yeah.
There's no false gravity either, right? So they're floating continuously, which that's probably going to be a big adjustment. I wonder how that's going to affect them when they come back to Earth.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, floating around for a whole 45 days. I think some people have done it for longer, so you know, it might not be that big of a change. It's probably an adjustment for sure, but
so if they float and they also hit the sun.
Well, they're not floating.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I just think that'll be a better part of the story.
Well,
that'll be a fun.
It would be newsworthy, I suppose. Like there would be a news report on it at least.
Hopefully, that'd be more entertaining.
It's just weird that like this isn't bigger news. I'm surprised it's not like a daily thing where it's like, hey, they're still up there. Why aren't we getting these 2 astronauts back? Like, why are they stuck up there like this? Well, they can return home anytime they want. Can they? Like when are you gonna go get them?
Still sound like they don't really care.
Right? It's just so weird. It's bizarre. Everyone's positive about it in a way that makes it seem like they don't want to tell us something. And I don't mean to be conspiratorial. They're already dead. No, I think they've talked to them. Like I think they've had like live stream conversations with them. And I don't like mean to go to the conspiratorial route, but something's a little weird by the non-urgency here.
So what do you think happened, Jacob?
Starliner has been plagued with issues, including 2 scrub attempts before the launch and helium leaks aboard the spacecraft. It was a leak. That's the story.
Is that your truthful story? Or is it your conspiracy story? Story.
That's the fact that I know. Was like they've detected leaks in the system. Really, it just seems like they should have not sent them up there in the first place.
That's what it sounds like.
Because if they've been having trouble with the Starliner thing, but here we go, the company just wants to do it to do it and prove they can do it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Also, Boeing's just having a bad year, aren't they?
Yep.
Boeing's name is attached to this. Like Boeing, their doors on their planes aren't staying.
Like damn, man,
staying closed.
You guys can't make anything right, can you?
Their corporate members, the whistleblowers are getting killed left and right.
Yeah, it's been a bad year for them.
Boeing is not having a good time.
Stay away from them. They kind of like the acne of products.
The
acne of products.
That's a smart comparison.
Yep, they just like acne.
Yeah, I don't know how many more updates there are going to be. Like, part of the reason I waited so long to report on this is also just because of this. Like,
but you actually want to read up on it.
Yeah, I wanted to read up on it, but also it's like it doesn't seem like there's any urgency here to it. And then I looked it up again the other day, and I'm just like, oh, they're still up there, 45 days.
If they're not concerned, then I'm not concerned.
Right?
That's just how I feel.
Right? It's very bizarre.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious as to like what's going to happen when they come back, and hopefully nothing happens and they end up dying or something. Like a rogue asteroid comes by.
All right, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, right. Maybe they do come back with superpowers. What if this is it,
dope.
James? What if this is the beginning?
Yeah, that would be dope.
What if they come back and they have ridiculous superpowers?
First of X-Men.
Yeah. But then where's the supervillain? You know, where would the supervillain come from?
Somebody that's jealous of him.
Because you can't have superheroes without a supervillain.
Somebody that's jealous of him.
Is that going to be the final push for Elon Musk?
Oh, that'd be pretty good.
Is that going to be it? We're like, oh, NASA created the first superheroes. Now, guess what I'm going to be? The villain.
That would be funny.
Because he already mentioned about wanting to build an Iron Man suit for Trump. I don't know if you saw that comment.
It could be the Iron Man that turns into Dr. Doom, allegedly. I don't know if you heard about that one.
In the comics?
They're trying to push for that. Allegedly in Secret Wars.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Tony Stark turns a multiverse of him.
They wouldn't do that.
They don't have the balls enough to pull that off.
I also think that like craps on
His death
and legacy. You would have to get a different. You would have to bring in Tom Cruise as your Iron Man. Then
yeah, but
you'd have to bring in a different Iron Man.
I actually don't mind that though. I actually don't mind the story though. I'm like, yeah, that.
It's not a bad story.
Because that's essentially what a multiverse is.
Yeah.
So, we talking about random Mondays.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. Like,
yeah.
You pretty much, a multiverse is like the alternate evil person of you.
Yeah.
And I think Marvel needs to take more risk like that.
Yeah.
Because that's more bold and ballsy moves.
Well, I mean, it's there. It's all there for them.
It's all there for him to do.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another day.
Of course it is. So that's all I got. I just wanted to touch on, the Starliner thing and Childish Gambino. I don't have much for this Monday.
Random Monday talk.
Random Monday. You know what you're going to do. Random episode, random times. So, like I said, that's all. Are you out?
That's all I got.
All right. So, hey, if you want to email us about our 100th episode coming up, just email us some episode ideas and whatnot. You can email us at onthegopod2023@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram. It's On The Go with Jacob and James. It's all one word. You can find me on Instagram at jacobdowntown.audio. And you can find James on Instagram at
James9794.
As always, you can find us on YouTube as well. It's On The Go with Jacob and James. We put out episodes every Monday and Friday, and our YouTube channel has clips on Wednesdays and Sundays. Just like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things you need to do to keep us around. And without further ado, I'm on the go. James is on the go. We're all on the go.